I really want to find a way to understand the Grateful Dead. I really do. And honestly, it makes me really emotional. I don't know why, but there's something about knowing how much a band is revered and then not knowing anything about it and feeling really, honestly, I think the feeling is feeling left out. It's like being left behind. It's like something that you weren't there, and the people who really love it were there, and they understand it on a level you're never going to understand it. And no matter how hard you try, it's like, well, you weren't there. So, like, you can't. And, like, I think that's partially true. But I really appreciate comments like this because this is a very supportive comment. And it means a lot to me that someone's not just saying, rude stuff because people said, when I listened to Touch of Grey, and they're like, "Ugh, of course she picks the one song that ruined the dead scene, blah, blah, blah." It's like, okay, well, that's exactly what I'm talking about. How am I supposed to know things if I was born much later and never had parents who were into it, so they didn't tell me about it? Like, how am I supposed to know this? Like, it's not like I'm going to read, documentaries and books. It's like, I think it's something that you had to just kind of discover through knowing things. And so look at this comment. She begrudgingly made a 40-minute video, so I have to give it to her for giving it a chance. She looked like she was ready to throw in the towel early on, and she certainly could have. I remember when I was younger and older folks told me something was the greatest, and I didn't get it either at the time, but sometimes I got it much later. This is not the best first experience to react to, in my opinion. Not sure of her background, but I can tell there are many other facets of Grateful Dead music that would have probably rung her bell. And then eventually, she could appreciate a 1989 Hampton show. I would say something from an album like Terrapin Station might be wise. Growing up seeing the Grateful Dead and being at the show, you just had to be there. That is all I can say. It was great to grow up Grateful Dead, and that spirit sticks to every fiber of your mind and body for the rest of your life. The music was industrial strength and highly sophisticated. Did she try to hammer out a few notes on piano? Haha. Bless her heart. She is a beautiful 40-year-old girl. I'm 39, but thank you. P.S. Thankfully, audio seems to be well preserved from long ago, but video just doesn't format as well across the newer way of transmittal. This would be a way better to watch on something more standard and played on what format it was recorded, if that makes sense. Oh, like watch it on an old TV that was like square and like bad pixels. Like I agree. When you try to use like modern day pixels, which are like super defined and you can see so many details, but it was like filmed on old film. I know what you're talking about. So I thanked him for the comment and I asked like what should I listen to, especially like something that has beautiful voice or guitar melody, because I do want to be able to find a connection. And I do think like with a lot of bands who are truly good and talented, not every song is going to speak to every single person, and you just have to find the ones that speak to you. So there's again, he says Terrapin Station album. So I don't know what I'm going to be allowed to broadcast here without getting in trouble, but sometimes if I listen to one that's by someone else, yeah, this is a good option. Um, okay, 16 minutes. This is the same one. Is this just one song or is this the album? Okay, it's a song.
Let my inspiration flow in token rhyme, suggesting rhythm that will not forsake me till my tears told and done. While the fire lights a glow, strange shadows from the flames will grow till things we've never seen will seem familiar. Shadows of the sailor forming, winds both foul and fair all swarm. Down in Carlisle he loved a lady many years ago. Here beside him stands a man, a soldier from the looks of him, who came through many fights but lost at love. While the storyteller speaks, a door within the fire creaks. Suddenly flies open, and a girl is standing there. is a light with glowing hair. Oh,
Can I just pause for a second and say something? So far, the melody has been completely the same for every stanza, which usually by now a chorus would have come in or some kind of secondary melody, bridge, verse, something. This is like, let me see if I can figure this one out. Eyes alight with glowing hair, all that fancy paints as fair. And then what?
all that fancy paints as fair. She takes
Takes
her
a
fan
fan
and
and
throws
throws
it
it
in the
in the
lion's
lion's
den.
den.
Which
Which
of
of
you
you
to
to
gain
gain
me
me
tell?
tell
Risk
risk
uncertain
uncertain
pains
pains
of
of
hell.
hell?
I will
I will
not
not
forgive you
forgive you
if
if
you
you
will
will
not
not
take
take
the
the
chance.
chance.
The
The
sailor
sailor
gave
gave
at
at
least
least
a
a
try.
try,
The soldier
soldier
being
being
much
much
too
too
wise.
wise.
Strategy was
Strategy
his
was his
strength
strength.
and not disaster.
Disaster. Three, four, one, two, three, four, one, two, one. Okay, perfect.
Sailor coming
Coming
out
out
again, the
again, the
lady
lady
fairly
fairly
leapt
leapt
at
at
him.
him.
That's how it
How it
stands
stands
today.
today.
You
Four,
decide
one,
he was
two,
wise.
three, four, one, two, three, four, one. The
Storyteller
teller
makes
makes
no
no
choice.
choice,
Soon
soon
you
you
will
will
not
not
hear
hear
his
his
voice.
voice.
His job is
Job is
to
to
shed
shed
light
light,
and not
not
to
to
master.
master. Two, three, four. Oh, another measure. A third, a fourth, five, six. Ooh, something's different.
Since the end is never told, we play the town off in gold in hopes he will come back, but he cannot be bought or sold.
Da 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 da. Okay.
Inspiration moved me
Ooh,
brightly,
Epiphany.
like the sun with sense and color, hope and blame despair. More than this I will not ask, faced with mysteries dark and vast. Statements just seem vain at last. Some rise, some
Some
fall,
fall,
some
some
climb
climb
to get to Terrapin.
to get to Terrapin.
Counting stars by candlelight, all are dim but one is bright. The spiral light of Venus rising first, shining best. Oh, from the northwest corner of a brand new crescent moon, crickets and cicadas sing a rare and different tune. Terrapin Station in the shadow of the moon. Terrapin Station.
Okay. I'm gonna listen to more. I want to pause for a second because there's like a lot of stuff to like talk about so far, and I don't want to forget anything. Okay, so yes, I also felt that this was a story, and I guess in the beginning, um, I got kind of annoyed because it was the same melody over and over again for every single stanza for so long. But this is just more reflective of my own kind of personality. Like, I never really liked reading in books often. I would like skip to the exciting part. Like I'd be like all the background information or when they're talking about like the setting and like the boring stuff like the beginning of the Lord of the Rings. It's like they're just talking around talking about nothing. You know what I mean? I'm like, no, 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 skip to the good part, you know? So it's kind of just my personality. I'm kind of impatient as a person. So I I found that all of these verses, like I understand thematically what's going on because I really did like once we got to the thick of the song, and then we have different instruments coming in. We have harmony suddenly. We didn't have harmony for the whole beginning. So I definitely thought that had like an impact at the moment that the harmony hit, and at the point when you're getting all this do 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 do, and then they're like switching around with the orchestration, and sometimes it's like a lot of instruments coming in together, and sometimes it's kind of like a few instruments, and then like do do do, you know. So I definitely think that part was cool because you felt like, oh, now something's happening. We're in like this other place, whatever. But that journey to get there for me was just a few stanzas too long. Like personally, one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine. I don't think it went into the next part until here. Like it was so many. It was like, why can't that be four stanzas max? And maybe this poem existed. Like Lady with a Fan? Like, was this a poem to begin with? Like, are they setting a poem to thing? Hold on. Permanent station poem author. Lyrics was Robert Hunter and Jerry Garcia. Hunter wrote the lyrics, he composed the music. Okay, so it's an independent thing. Apparently, a Bay Area storm. Okay. He wrote the lyrics for the first part in a single sitting during a rare Bay Area lightning storm. On the same day, driving across the Richmond-Sanderfeld Bridge, lead guitarist Jerry Garcia was struck by the idea of a singular melodic line. He turned his car around and hurried home to set it down in notation before it escaped him. When we met that day, I showed him the words and he said, I've got the music. They dovetail perfectly and Terrapin edged into the mansion. Oh, he based the lyrics for the lady in with a fan section on a traditional English folk song known as the Lady of Carlisle. Yeah, I could see that. It kind of reminds me of like those old English songs where it's like you keep saying the same tune. The Lady of Shalott, whatever, and then it's like the next verse. Da, 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 da. Yeah, it's like the same tune to tell the story over time. And yes, that is a old English tradition, so I get it. So yes, they're being very poetic here. They're being very homagey to history. Um, Lady of Carlisle, okay. The ballad is number 396 on the Road Folk Song Index. Okay, so folk song. Okay, that makes sense. She tosses her fan to lions and asks him to retrieve it. And also Sir Walter Scott. Huh, it's pretty deep. Um, okay, so it's mapped out. The rhythm guitarist Bob Weir's estimated profit was written in septuple time. Yeah, septuple. That's six. The lyrics for the song examine illusions of grandeur in California. Da, 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 da. The song also quotes Ezekiel saw the wheel. It's a great song, but when we are da da, it needs a da. Okay, wait, is this the whole album? Yeah. I want to see specifically the song Terrapin Station. It must be this part. Ah, okay. So see how they have it separated into parts? Lead vocal, Garcia, instrumental Garcia, and then the English chorale. Okay, so we're going to be getting that. Cool. I want to read more. Da, 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 da. This is interesting. Okay, opening section. Yes. Okay, so this is like F Lydian. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. That's why it sounds very na 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 na. Yeah, okay. Then yes, it changed keys. I sensed that for sure. And then yes, orchestrated. Okay, that's what I sent. Uh-huh. What did I say? Drums and then space. and then drums. I said that. I said tons of instruments and then not that many instruments. Okay, this portion of the piece is okay. I think we're getting to this part next. Yeah, add a sighting. Vocals from Garcia, darker tone, centered around repeating D sharp, D chord progression. Oh, is that the da-na-na-na-na-na-na I heard? Okay. Oh my God, there's more parts. Okay, this is like a whole musical work.
While you were gone, these spaces filled with darkness. The obvious was here, with nothing to believe in. The compass always points to Terrapin. Sullen wings of fortune beat like rain. You're back in Terrapin for good or ill again. For good or ill again.
Tropical vibes. bum 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 supple supple time. One, two, three. Okay. Are we getting a fade out? No. Okay, I'm not a big fan of the fade out. The only artistic reason it makes sense is that either it means that the legend lives on forever and they'll keep singing it on for eons and eons as it fades away over time, or the people are getting further and further away as we go. Any other fade out reason, just because it was a cool thing to do, it was in style at the time. I don't like the fade out. They had this whole chorale, they could have ended on like an epic like chord. Ah, 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 like a big dramatic chord. That's what I would have done, but hey, maybe it means this journey is continuing on, or the storytellers told the story in like English style and then went on to the next village. I don't know. Okay, let me give you my honest thoughts. Well, this is art, so I appreciate it. This to me is much more artsy than what I heard in those live jams of like, oh, you gotta have been at this concert. Oh, Jerry playing, wow, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, no, this is actually like a great composition. And again, as I was listening to that beginning part, I'm like, all right, they're going on this like same refrain over and over again. There obviously has to be a reason. And again, I really was thinking about this like, this is like boring English storytelling where they would the melody would help people remember stories, right? So like when before we had a lot of written word, we had spoken and sung word. So having a melody to these old stories was really cool. And then you could like pass them on. However, often it was like sung the same story over and over, like the same tune, and then they would just tell the whole story with the same tune for like a really long time. So that definitely happened. And like, yes, are these really cool words? Yes, they're very artsy. This is very deep stuff. This is like poetry. It's like, I'm gonna write a poem. Shadows of a sailor forming, winds both foul and fair, all swarm down in Carlisle. He loved a lady many years ago. It's an homage to like an old story, right? So that's cool. I mean, it's cool, like the story of Jerry coming up with a melody while he's driving, and then he's like turns around and like, I gotta write this down. And then the friend being like, I happened to write a poem last night. And that's cool. So yeah, I liked that part, but really I didn't, the beginning was kind of dragging for me personally, but like I told you, that's just my personality. I don't like slow, drawn out things. I'm a little ADHD, so I like kind of a lot of like interesting things happening. That's why I like the section where it was like switching between orchestration a lot. Well, I like when they got the harmony. And I had that cool stacked harmony, like very 70s style. So I liked when it got to that section. Once it got to that part, I felt like a big sense of relief and like, oh, okay, so this is like the good part of the song. The beginning part for me personally, I guess when you can do whatever you want because you're the Grateful Dead, you're like, let's just make a 60-minute song and like do it. For today's audiences, I'd say people aren't going to listen that long because they're just not, they're very impatient. I'm not saying it's right. I mean, I'd say it's better to be, I grew up going to symphonies. That's not interesting to a lot of people. Operas not, I sing in operas. That's not interesting to a lot of people. So like, I see the merit in like, you should like teach people to be really, um, you know, like patient and like to experience the moment and put your phone down and just live in the moment. But in my personal life, I feel like I have to do so much every day, all the time, like every second. I don't really get much downtime. I don't even like enjoy downtime. I don't even like watch TV anymore. I just, if I have moments now, I'm like, I gotta make a video, gotta make a video. I just gotta, well, I'm also trying to like make something of myself right now. So I'm in that building stage of my life. I'm not in my like sit down and relax and sit by the fire with a hot cocoa and like listen to a 60-minute song part of my life. So I definitely, that's why I like doing this channel because it forces me to like sit down and listen to music that I would never listen to. And it's not because I don't like it, it's because I don't even watch TV. Okay. Like I just don't have the time to like enjoy life right now. I mean, I'm enjoying it because I like being busy, but I'm not like in this like take it all in. Maybe when I'm older, if I work hard now, then hopefully I can do that when I'm older. So, but I do like the harmony part. I like that weird like key there. That's not. Unusual chord progression. Na, 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 that little do 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 half step thing.
Okay, I'm different too.
I like the orchestra part. And this is the part where, yeah, we get those like lots of instruments, and then we get the little like the quiet little drum parts. Da, 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 da. Little quiet part, little quiet part. Bum 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 da 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 ba 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 do do little quiet part, little part. Maybe this is the seven time part, and it's the 1 2 3 4 1 2 3. 1 2 3 4 1 2 3. Yes, there. Well, kind of. Is that the septuple? Dun, dun. 1 2 3 4 1 2 3, and let's do the four. Ba 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 ba. Do 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 ba bum. I like that. Ba ba bum ba 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 ba. Yeah, that's especially my favorite part of the song. Like when it goes do 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 da, da, ba, da, 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 da. It's exciting. So yeah, I'm really into that part. My light died. Um, but yeah, I think that this I like. So I'm gonna give you guys, I'm giving this like an A minus, okay? Like I like it. It's actually art. This shows me that these people are talented. They actually thought about what they were writing. They were actually trying to do something interesting and unique and meaningful. And I really appreciate that because I don't know, I hate when it's just like basic stuff that has no thought. It's just like, oh, let's just put out a banger, like a radio hit, thoughtless music that nobody even knows. I don't even see an outlet in this room, which is like very surprising, but it's okay. I'll survive. So, anyway, I like it. Thank you for the recommendation. I'm guessing there's a whole album called Terrapin Station I need to listen to. Is that what he was saying in the comments? Yeah, album. Okay, so there's going to be a lot more tracks to this album if I can get through it. So I guess I'll make them as individual YouTube videos, or maybe if they're shorter songs in 16 minutes, I'll be able to put more than one in one video. But I think a good video length in general is like 30 minutes, 40 minutes. That's what I try to do for long form. I don't want to go like 2 hours. So if I listen to a whole album, it's going to be way too long for you to get through. So yes, it was nice to read this whole like breakdown on Wikipedia. Um, but a lot of it was what I was sensing. Like as soon as they hit that second section and there was harmony, I was like, oh, we got somewhere. That whole journey of the like repeated melody that I was like, this is boring. It's like going on too long. It's just that like I wish I could write a song like that. That's just like, let's come up with one melody and then let's just talk for a really long time about this really long, drawn out story. And that somehow all of these words are so important that we needed 10 stanzas. I just would rather compress that into like 6 stanzas personally. But hey, it was his poetry. How can I say anything against it? And it is obviously this to me, this is like an important song in quote rock and roll history, if you will, because I'd never heard this before, but I was like, oh, this would definitely be important. And at the time, this was probably very profound. Like, whoa, this is something I've never heard anyone do before. And just remember, I was very familiar with the Beatles. So I always thought like Beatles Revolver was like really profound when I was growing up. I was like, whoa, and like Abbey Road and like all those albums. The White Album, yeah, all those Beatle albums when they started getting really psychedelic, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Heart Club Band, I was always like, whoa, this is like, imagine like at the time what people were thinking of. And then they had the violins and the orchestra. I was like, whoa, you know? So I could definitely see that this would have been like to get this record at the time and like put it in your record player and then hear this for the first time and you're just like, this is like crazy. And then maybe people were like using substances to feel a little bit elevated and they're just like, dun, 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 dun. They're like, this is so different than anything I've ever heard. Different key, bum, 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 bum. Yeah, so I'm into that part. And then ending with the English chorale, strong move. If you have a choir, use it. If you can orchestrate in a choir and you have some orchestra instruments, use them. they only add to a rock band, in my opinion. It's the best thing for if I had the money to hire musicians to play in my tracks and if I had a whole orchestra to compose for, I would be composing stuff all the time. I would just be like, "Oh my God, violins and this and that." And like I'd be using them. So I do that with my MIDI, but I have to do it all by MIDI and it's all like synthesized instruments, but that's all that I have, you know? So, but that always has been kind of a dream of mine is to have my own little orchestra to play with. And what was cool about music school is we had to write songs in music school to study old form, like Passacaglia form and whatever. But we had all the musicians in our class were different instruments. So we had like a oboe and a violin and a viola and whatever. So when we were writing our scores, we actually performed them in class and we could like choose which instruments we wanted to play. So we did orchestrate for our class. And that's because our teacher was a famous composer. So he was like teaching us how it's done. So I think that's awesome. And I really liked Jerry's guitar solo was really good, and I thought the tone of the guitar was very interesting.
Beat like
Yeah, it sounds so interesting among those horns. Like it's kind of an orchestra section, but then his guitar kind of it's so high and stuff, and like very contrasting with the orchestra instruments because that part has horns and strings and all sorts of orchestra instruments involved. And so for him to have his little like very electronic guitar going through there, super cool. So yeah, again, I give this an A minus. I don't know. I mean, it's just because I don't give anything an A plus. It's just because you always have to like leave room. I have to give it an A minus so that if I hear something better, I can give it an A, and then that still leaves room for like the thing that like blows my mind that I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I've never heard this before. It's an A plus, right? So it's A minus, meaning a very good rating in my opinion. Again, I get what they were doing with the long buildup artistically, so I'm okay with it. Do I like it? It's boring to me. But once it got to past that opening part of the hero saga and it got to the part of the like discovery and the redemption and all the parts of the hero saga that are so important in our literature and part of our culture and all the stories of today are all homages back to ancient stories from our culture. So I love anything that kind of celebrates ancient, especially English spoken word, especially for specifically the English language. So anything that comes from like old England that we've adapted and brought into America because of our English language, I love that. I love celebrating the English language. I love celebrating European history. I think it's great. And anything orchestrated, symphonic, operatic, this is operatic in a way because it's like telling a story with music. It's like has a beginning, a middle, and an end. It has sections. It's like opera, act one, act two, act three, act four, right? So I like anything that pays homage to where we came from in classical music. So I'm going to publish this and please comment what you think and please give me more recommendations that are more like this because this, yes, I can like, this I appreciate, this I understand. That other stuff, I was like, no. Like I don't know. I just don't want to see a bunch of guys jamming and just like being on drugs and just like playing some kind of basic rock and roll music, but then just like doing an improvisational jam. It has to mean something to me. It has to like, why did they write that song? What does the song mean? What is it like? Who is it touching? Like, what do these lyrics mean? Like, why are we singing this? Like, what is the urgency of this? So this has an urgency. This has a message. I need songs that have an urgency and a message. Does that make sense? I hope you like understand that we can be on the same, like we both like the same thing. We just like it for different reasons. Does that make sense? So I'm on your team and I'm open. I just want it to be curated from now on. Like you guys curate it from me, knowing what I'm like. And that way we can be on the same page. Okay. I love you all. Thanks for supporting my channel. And I love getting recommendations like this. And I chose his recommendation because he was nice to me and he wrote a really long thing and he took the effort to like really explain it to me. And that made me want to, versus like people that say, okay, this person was also nice. They gave me a recommendation but then some people were there wouldn't be fish without the dead. There's the fish fans. Da, 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 da. Oh yeah, I was a pit with a head full of acid. Okay. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Wow. Okay, we have like a whole conversation going on in here. This was definitely not the best version of da da da. That's true. You gravitated towards slipped ass. I did. So, all right. Most people are liking my videos, so I'm gonna keep making them, and I love all your comments. So thank you. Bye.